So we're going to read 108 shlokas. Out of 700 shlokas, we're going to understand 108 shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. This Bhagavad Gita is translated from Sanskrit to English by Srila Prabhupada. Here is his picture. Srila Prabhupada's picture is there on the screen as well. Srila Prabhupada is the founder Acharya of International Society of Krishna Consciousness, also known as ISKCON. This is the highest selling Bhagavad Gita on the planet, and this is called as Bhagavad Gita as it is. So our teachings, our learnings will be based on Bhagavad Gita as it is. So what we are going to do, as I said, is we are going to learn the 108 shlokas. Then we are trying to learn how to memorize the shlokas. And then how to apply in our daily life. So 108 shlokas we can remember also. Now some of you may ask, why to memorize the shlokas? What is the need? Why should we memorize the shlokas? So it has been proven by the scientific fact that the mantras or the shlokas have positive effect on your brain. So when you learn the shlokas, it increases the peace of your mind. When you recite the mantras, all these vibrations, mantras have the peaceful effect. Like say you say Om, so it gives a peaceful effect on your mind, right? So more you remember the mantras or the shlokas, you can memorize them, then you can remember them, then whenever you are in stressful condition, then you meditate upon the mantras or the shlokas, right? So that gives you positive effect. Secondly, it fills our mind with the positive vibrations and thoughts. Most of our time, our mind is occupied with anxiety, right? Worries about the future. We most of the time are worried about our future or about the family or our dependents. We are always worried about it. So if we fill our mind with the shlokas, then it gives better positive vibrations in your brain, right? So that is why it is important to remember the shlokas. Then it comes to our rescue when there is difficult times, because these shlokas have lot of positive information condensed within them. Now whenever we are in difficulty, if we remember the shloka, if we understand the shloka, and whenever there is a difficult time and you say, oh, what is the shloka for this particular problem, and then you have the solution for it. For example, in the maths, if you have any problems, then what do? You remember the formulas. Is that right or wrong? And once you have a formula, you can solve the problems. Is that right? How many of you are from engineering field? Most of you? I'm from medicine. So. But the formulas are there because you can solve the problems. So you have to memorize the formula, not the problems, right? Similarly, the shlokas are the formulas. That is why they are called mantra. Mantra means it has the ability to relieve your mind. Man means mind and tra means to deliver. So the shlokas have, or mantras have, a power to deliver your mind from the negative thoughts. That is why it is important for us to understand and memorize, right? So whenever there is a difficulty and you say, oh, what is that shloka from Bhagavad Gita which tells us about this problem? And then you solve the problem. You understand this or no? It is very practical book. Bhagavad Gita is a practical handbook for the problem solving of the daily life. It's called as Art of Living. The book which helps you to solve the problems of life. Right? So we memorize the shloka so that it increases the peace of mind, it gives you positive vibrations and comes to your rescue when there is a difficult situation in your life. Right? Shlokas have a condensed information. There is a lot of information, lot of philosophy which is packed in 2 or 3 lines. And if you expand upon it, you can understand and meditate upon those shlokas very nicely. Right? So that is why we have to remember and memorize the shlokas. Now, when we recite the shlokas which glorify Lord Krishna, then it can awaken the soul to eternal knowledge. It brings you in connection with Krishna. Right? So, for example, if you want to get connected with your parents in India, how do you do that? You talk to them, right? Otherwise, it's difficult to get connected. You either do a video call or audio call. Similarly, if you want to get connected with Krishna, then you have to recite the mantras for Krishna. If you want to get connected with Lord Ramchandraji, you have to remember the mantras for Lord Ramji. If you want to get connected with Ganeshji, you have to recite the mantras of Ganeshji. Is that right or wrong? If you want to get connected with Lord Shiva, you have to recite Lord Shiva's mantra. Similarly, we have to understand all these mantras, then we can get connected with the Supreme Destiny, right? Srila Prabhupada Ji, who is the one who translated this Bhagavad Gita as it is for us from Sanskrit to English, he has said that when you quote a verse, your argument becomes authoritative. Which means that if you suppose somebody is arguing with you on a particular topic, and now you have a quote from Bhagavad Gita. You say, this is not I am saying, this is what Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita. For example, in the court of law, when a judge is sitting and the lawyers are arguing with each other, then how do the lawyers win the argument? They quote a penal code. This code says this, and this is what my argument is. And that is how they win the case. Is that right? Similarly, if you understand these shlokas and memorize the shlokas, and if there is a argument, even with your parents, or your family members, or your friends, and you quote a shloka and say, this is what Krishna says, this is not what I am saying, so then you win the argument. Because this is quoted by authoritative scriptures. Like we in the medicine also, we write papers. We write scientific papers, publications. So when you write a paper, you have to give a reference, right? Do you guys read the books? In the books there is a reference. This verse is taken from this particular book. So why do they have to put the reference? Because then your sentence has importance. If there is no quote, then nobody will accept your paper for publication. That is why at the end of any publication you have references. Right or wrong? So that is why we have to remember the shlokas so that we can memorize and we can put an authoritative argument. So how do you remember the shlokas? So first is why to remember the shlokas, right? So we give you all the arguments why to remember the shlokas, right? It gives you peace of mind, it gives positive vibrations, it comes to your rescue when there is a difficulty in your life, when you are arguing with somebody. It is authoritative to source, right? And it is a lot of information condensed in 2 or 3 lines. Right? So this is why you have all the formulas so you can solve the problems. This is why. But that next is how. Right? So why should you come to temple? You have the reason. Now why? How should you come? How do you come to temple? Take a bus or take a ride or like that. So now how to remember the shlokas? So there are some tips. So there are 3 main guidelines for remembering the shlokas. So what after doing this session, there will be homework for all of us. There is some shlokas which will be given to you to memorize. So when I see you next time, what do I do? I'll ask you, Abhinav, did you remember this shloka? And Abhinav will say what? Sorry, I was busy, I couldn't. Then what did I say? Okay, next time when I'll see. Okay. So whenever we meet, what do we do? Talk to each other about shlokas. Is that okay? Is that a done deal? So most of you won't see me again probably. Is that correct? No? Okay, let's see. So just 3 guidelines to remember the shlokas. First is repetition. Anything to remember in the life, you have to repeat. We are not like Arjuna, remember everything in one thing. So repetition and Repetition. So how do you repeat? So we talked about the shloka today. Then when you go home or you are in the bus, then you open your phone. And in the phone, there will be an application for Bhagavad Gita, free of cost to download. So you open that application. And then open the shlokas which we are going to learn today. And then what do you do next? Just read the shloka. And I tell you, I guarantee you that you will remember this shloka by tomorrow evening. I guarantee you. What is I'm saying? If you follow what I'm saying, then you will remember at least 3 shlokas by tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Yes. How are you, beta? Good. So, if you want to remember the shloka, what is the first thing? Repetition. So, how do you repeat a shloka? So, you learn today, then within 24 hours, you repeat it. Then, next revision after 72 hours. And then third revision after 7 days. And then if you do this, so one revision tomorrow, second revision after 3 days, and third revision after 7 days. Then you will remember the shloka for lifetime. This will stay with you, right? So repetition, then followed by revision, which is 3 days and 7 days, and then utilization. So you have to apply in your life, and we are going to learn how to apply that in our life. Okay? So are you all ready? Okay? So let's do with one shloka today. So total 108 important shlokas of Bhagavad Gita, and we'll start with. So here is the list. These are the 108 shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. I have a list here for you. So today we are going to learn chapter 1 and chapter 2. Not all the shlokas, but we will do chapter 1 has only one shloka for you to remember. And then chapter 2 has this many shlokas, but we'll try to see how much we can cover today, okay? So let's do Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, shloka number 1. So everybody knows the background of Bhagavad Gita. I don't want to tell you whole background, but it's Bhagavad Gita is part of which book? Mahabharata, correct. And Gita Jayanti is coming on
14 December.
14, but we are celebrating on 12th of December, which is Sunday. What time?
Morning
10 o'clock. So please come. So Bhagavad Gita is a conversation. First, it is happening between two people. On the screen you see there is a blind person whose name is Dhritarashtra, and the person who is sitting in front of him is Sanjay. Dhritarashtra is father of Kauravas, and Sanjay is the, who is Sanjay? Is the assistant or secretary of blind king Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra is blind from the birth, so he is not able to see anything. So he has been, his sons are fighting a war with Pandavas. There is a fight between Kauravas and Pandavas, right, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And Dhritarashtra is sitting in front of Sanjaya. Why? Because Sanjaya is blessed with a divine vision, Divya Drashti, that he can see whatever is happening in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, which is called as Doordarshan television. What is that called? Doordarshan is television. You have a question? No? No question. Good. So this is the first shloka of Bhagavad Gita. Dhritarashtra is asking to Sanjaya. So you can repeat after me. So for the benefit of all of us, shloka is in Sanskrit as well as in English. Okay. So this is the shloka, first shloka. So what we are going to do? We are going to learn the shloka, then understand and memorize. This is the purpose, and then apply in our life. Okay. So let's see the first shloka. Dhritarashtra Uvacha Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kima Akurvata Sanjaya. So now here we will understand each of the words so we can remember it. Okay. So Dhritarashtra Uvacha. Uvacha means said. You know? So Dhritarashtra is saying, so Dhritarashtra is the blind king who is talking to Sanjaya. You see Sanjaya's name is at the end. Sanjaya here, who is the secretary and who has been given a divine vision. So what is Dhritarashtra is saying? Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsava mamaka pandavaschaiva kima kurvata sanjaya. So he's saying that dharma kshetra is the, dharma means holy, religious, and kshetra means place. So what is the name of that dharma kshetra? Kurukshetra, right? So he's saying that dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta. Samaveta means assembly. So we all are samaveta here. Yuyutsavaha. Yuyutsava means desiring to fight. Yuyutsava is a Sanskrit word. In Japanese language, there is an art, martial art called jujutsu. Do you know this art, jujutsu art? So this jujutsu word is the origin of word jujutsu. Many of the words in English language or Latin language or other languages also are derived from Sanskrit language. Like for example, dental. Dental means teeth. And in Sanskrit, dant means teeth. Dant to dent. Dent means dental. Mat means mother. How do you spell mat? M-A-T. From mat comes mat, then comes maternal, then comes maternity, right? And then pit means pitru. Pitru means father. Pit. From pit comes pat. From pat comes paternal, which is related with father. So in this way, you can see that there are many words which have the origin in Sanskrit. If you study carefully, then Sanskrit is called as mother of all the languages. Right? So here, Dhritarashtra is saying that all have assembled in Kurukshetra, which is Dharma Kshetra. Why is Kurukshetra is called as Dharma Kshetra? Have you been to Kurukshetra? आप में से कोई कुरुक्षेत्र गया है? नहीं गए? जाना चाहिए. Kurukshetra is a holy place where in the previous time all the Devi Devtas used to come to Kurukshetra to perform sacrifice. There is a Brahma Sarovar there in Kurukshetra where Brahmaji used to come and do puja there. So it's very near to Delhi. Kurukshetra, आप जाइएगा कभी समय मिले तो. So it is called a holy place. This is called Dharma Kshetra. Mamaka Pandavaschaiva. Mamaka means mine. And Pandavas, son of Pandu. So he says, my sons and sons of Pandu have assembled cha eva. Eva means certainly. Kima akurvata sanjaya. Kima means what? Akurvata. So what are they doing when they have assembled in the Kurukshetra, which is a Dharma Kshetra? So here Sanjaya is sitting in front of Dhritarashtra and Dhritarashtra is asking a question. Now obviously when they have assembled to fight, what are they going to do? The fight. But here Sanjaya is, Dhritarashtra is asking the question, and if you see the word important here is Dharma Kshetra. Why? Because every place has its own significance. Like for example, you are in the temple hall. So in temple hall has its own influence. Your mind is filled with positive vibrations. Now currently we are all in Sattva Guna. Suppose you spend the same time in a movie theater. Your mind is influenced by Rajoguna or Tamoguna because the environment has its effect. Right or wrong? People go to library for study. Why? Because you can learn new things, right? Because it's peaceful, quiet, everybody's studying, so you have a positive vibration there. So here Dhritarashtra is saying that in the holy place of Kurukshetra there is a war happening, and Dhritarashtra is worried that his sons, who are Kauravas, they are on the adharma side. So if you do adharma on dharma kshetra, you're going to lose it, right? So that is why here Dhritarashtra is asking this question to Sanjaya. Dhritarashtra said, "O Sanjaya, after my sons and sons of Pandu have assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra desiring to fight, what did they do?" Another thing here is that here Dhritarashtra is dividing between his sons and his sons of Pandu. It's called as dividing mentality. People are selfish. So this is mine and this is yours. Every time we have this thing, right? So he says, these are my children and these are Pandu's children, like that. So in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, there is a conversation happening between Sanjaya and Dhritarashtra, but then Sanjaya starts speaking, and then Sanjaya describes that the battlefield is there, and then on both the sides are the big army. On one side is Kaurava army, and then he describes the fighters in the Kaurava army. Can you please list some of the fighters from the Kaurava side? Do you know any people from the Kaurava army? Who were the lead? Duryodhan. Yes. Next one. Dronacharya. Anybody else? Bhishma Pitamaha. Karna. Kripacharya. Ashwathama. And Narayani Sena of Lord Krishna was there with Kauravas. And then Pandavas. Can you list some of the fighters from Pandava side? Of course, Arjun, yes. Yudhishthir, Bhim, Nakul, Sahadev. And Lord Krishna was not there to fight. He was just a driver there. So, on the son of Subhadra was there. Son of Draupadi was there. His name was son of Uttara was there. His name was Abhimanyu. You know Abhimanyu? Sorry, son of Subhadra is Abhimanyu, and Abhimanyu's son is Parikshit, Uttara's son. Okay, so all these were great fighters. Okay, so Kaurava's army was very powerful on the strength wise. Why? Because Bhishma Pitamaha, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, Ashwathama, Karna, all these are great fighters. In front of them, Pandava's army was nothing. Bhishma alone was enough to defeat everybody, because he had a Ichha Mrityu. He will not die. So, as long as Bhishma was there on the battlefield, Kaurava's victory was 100% confirmed. There was no problem at all. So, first chapter until shloka number 26, there is a description of both the armies. The fighters' names are mentioned. And then Arjuna asked Lord Krishna that please drive my chariot between the two armies. So Lord Krishna then takes the chariot between the two armies. And then what happens next? Arjuna sees that on both the sides there are fighters assembled. One side is grandfather Bhishma Pitamaha, his own Guru Dronacharya, Kripacharya, all this. And then Putra of Guru, Ashwathama. Guru Putra is there. All of them are desiring to fight. And on the other side, his own brothers. So he becomes very emotional. And then he breaks down. He says, Krishna, you have brought my chariot between the two armies, but I see that on this side is my own cousins and my Guru and my own family members and seniors and elders. And on the other side I see my own brothers. Why should I fight with the family members? You know, why should we fight just for the piece of land to our family? He says, I will prefer to be a beggar rather than to fight and kill my own family members. So do you think it's a valid argument? Yes? Akash? Yes or no? Yeah? Is it? It's quite logical, right? How about you? What's your name? Deborna. What do you think is Arjun saying is right or wrong? Hare Krishna Babaji. Yash is right. Arjuna is correct, right? He's saying that I'm not going to fight because he says that I do not want to fight and I don't want to kill my family member just for the piece of land. But Krishna is saying, no, you must fight. So who is wrong? Krishna is wrong, right? Arjuna is right, means Krishna is wrong, right? So he starts crying actually. He becomes very emotional. And his hand starts trembling. His body starts quivering. And Arjuna literally gives up. Arjuna is a great fighter. He has learned the martial arts from Dronacharya. Once upon a time in the Virat Yuddha, Arjuna himself single-handedly had defeated Kaurava army. And the same Arjuna who had fought with Lord Shiva, and Lord Shivji had given him a bow, Dhanush. So, same Arjuna who was fighter, now is crying. And he becomes very emotional. And he gives up. And he sits in front of Krishna and he sits down on the chariot. And he says, Krishna, I do not want to fight. He says, I'm going to be a beggar rather than a fighter. So Arjuna is a classical case of a depression. Isn't it? A great person who knows everything, in the life of most successful people, not necessarily they are most happy. Is that right or wrong? So Arjuna is a typical case of a successful person being failed in the life. So he starts crying in front of Lord Krishna and he starts lamenting, literally laments. And you see here Arjuna is lamenting and he's crying in front of Krishna and he says, Krishna, I cannot do anything now. So he says to Lord Krishna in the shloka, second chapter, we are now in the second chapter, we finished first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Right? Is that nice? Just 5 minutes and we finished the first chapter. So which shloka to remember of the first chapter? First shloka. Then Arjuna says second chapters. Next shloka for you to remember is 7th shloka from second chapter. You can repeat after me. Karpanya doshopta svabhava. Okay, one by one. Karpanya doshopta svabhava. Karpanya doshopta svabhava. Prichami tvam dharma sammudha cheta. Prichami tvam dharma sammudha cheta. So whole line. Prichami tvam dharma sammudha cheta. So now both the lines. Karpanya doshopta svabhava. Karpanya doshopta svabhava. Prichami tvam dharma sammudha cheta. Yat shreya shan nishchitam bruhi tanme. Yat shreya shan Nishitam bruhi tanme. Shishyateham sadhimam tvam prapannam shishyateham sadhimam tvam prapannam. So whole shloka I will recite for all of benefit for all of us. So here is the same Sanskrit shloka in Sanskrit language. Karpanya doshopta svabhava pruchhami tvam dharma samurdha cheta yashriyasya nichitam ruhitan me shishyateham sadhimam tvam prapannam. So here Arjuna is saying to Lord Krishna that Karpanya doshopta svabhava. He said dosha. Dosha means, what is the dosha means? Fault. Yes, very nice. There is a dosha. Dosha means fault. And he says, I have a fault. And what is the fault? Karpanya. He says, my swabhav, my nature has been affected with a fault. And this fault is nothing but a karpanya fault. Karpanya means miser. Here Arjuna is saying that my heart is shrinking and I don't know, I feel like a miser. Huh? What is a miser means? Do you know who is a miser? No? Miser means in Sanskrit. हिंदी में क्या कहते हैं उसको? कंजूस कहते हैं, है ना? कंजूस यानी क्या? जिसके पास बहुत सारा है लेकिन किसी को कुछ देता नहीं है, उसको क्या कहते हैं? कंजूस कहते हैं. Arjuna has lot of power, but he said, I cannot use my power, my strength. I don't know. I'm feeling very weak. So that is called Karpanya dosha. Some people have lot of things, but they don't give anything. In the life, they say that what you give comes back to you. What you give, you get. If you give good, you get good. If you give bad, you'll get bad. That's the simple law of nature, which is called as the Newton's third law. What is the Newton's third law? Every action has equal and opposite reaction. That is law of karma, right? So more you give, more you get. So if you want to get more, what do? You give more, obviously, right? But somehow or other we think that if we don't give anything, we'll get more. This is called as miser tendency. Is that right or not? There was one miser who collected a lot of money. You know, they say that miser are the greatest donors. What is that? The person who doesn't give anything is the greatest donor to the whole world. How? This is a sarcasm. Because when you don't give anything to everyone and you save everything, so ultimately somebody is going to take it away. You understand or not? आप जितना संचय करके रहेंगे ये सब कुछ मेरा मेरा, फिर आप मर जाएंगे एक दिन, फिर क्या हो जाएगा? कोई लेने वाला है, और आपने डोनेट कर दिया ना किसी को, अपने हाथ से नहीं किया, कोई अपने आप ही ले लेगा, है ना? तो सरकाज़म क्या है कि जो किसी को डोनेट नहीं करते वो सबसे बड़े डोनर रहते हैं, क्योंकि कोई तो भी उनका प्रॉपर्टी सब लेने वाला है आखिर में. लेके तो नहीं जाना है कुछ साथ में, है ना? क्या लेके जाएंगे सब? नहीं ना. There was one miser who never gave anything to anyone. एक पैसे का भी किसी को दान दक्षिणा कभी भी नहीं किया, एक पैसा भी नहीं. And then he died. So when you die, what happens? Your soul is taken for judgment, right? So he went to Yamaloka, and then Yamaraj came and looked at his accounts. Oh, this person didn't give any donation to anyone. Let's punish him. He deserves a punishment. So they were punishing him, beating him left, right, center. He was asking, please forgive me, क्षमा मैं चाहता हूँ, अभी नहीं करूँगा ऐसा. It's okay, let me check his accounts. And then small details, they found that one time this miser had donated a spoiled banana to someone. एक बनाना किसी को दिया, वो भी खराब हो गया था, चलो इसको दे. Oh, you got one good donation you gave in your life. What is that? A spoiled banana. He said, okay, based upon this merit, I'm giving you this ladder, and you climb this ladder and you can get out of the hell, get out of the punishment. So this miser, he was a miser by nature, right? So he started climbing the ladder. But by the time all the people in the hell came to know that there's a ladder, you can jump out of the hell. So this miser was climbing, and then all the people were following him. But this miser was a real miser. So he started shaking the ladder so that other people don't use the ladder. He said, "This is my ladder, my ladder. You can't climb on this ladder." So seeing that, Yamraj became very angry. He said, "You deserve to be in the hell. You cannot get out of this." So what is the moral of the story? More you give, more you get. अपने जीवन में अगर आपने अपने हाथ से नहीं दिया तो क्या हो जाएगा? दूसरा कोई लेके मजा करेगा. So better you give from your hands and collect proper good karmas. This is the month of Gita Jayanti. This month is called Gita Jayanti month, December month coming soon now. The best daan you can give in your life is Bhagavad Gita. When Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, went to Japan, he gifted the Prime Minister of Japan a Bhagavad Gita. And what did he say? He said that India has nothing more to give than Bhagavad Gita, and world has nothing more to receive than Bhagavad Gita. Because Bhagavad Gita has everything to give. So the best donation you can do in your life is take a Gita and gift it to your friend, gift it to your teacher. Gita is not very expensive. You can gift it to your employer. Gita लेना है, उसके ऊपर थोड़ा sweets रखना है, and donate it. This is the best donation ever we can do, called as Gita Daan. उससे भी अच्छा क्या है? तो आप गीता स्टडी करिए. You study Gita and teach others. That is also the best donation. So first is you physically hand over the book. गीता हमारे मंदिर के स्टोर में अवेलेबल है. आप एक गीता लीजिए और किसी को डोनेट करिए, उस पर लिखिए with the best compliments from. And then Christmas gift आप देते हैं सबको अभी तो, है ना? क्या नहीं देते? Christmas gift is a fashion nowadays. So you can buy a Gita and donate a Gita. This is the best time. उसके साथ थोड़ा sweets भी दे सकते हैं, कुछ chocolates भी दे सकते हैं, whatever you feel like. But Karpanya means miser. If you can't give anyone, so that is no use, right? So here Arjuna is saying that I have become a miser, and Prichami tvam dharmodha sambuddha cheta. Prichami means I am asking you, hey Krishna, I am asking you that please tell me what should I do. Shishyateham sadhimam tvam parpannam. Shishya means student. He's saying that, hey Krishna, I am becoming your student now. You please accept me as your guru. You become my guru and accept me as your student. And please tell me what should I do now. So here Arjuna is saying that I am confused about my duty and have lost all the composure because of my miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is the best for me. I am your disciple and soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So here Arjuna is asking Krishna that you please become a guru. So a guru is required in our life. Without guru there is no jnana. Nowadays we have a Google guru. Everybody learns from Google, but Google guru cannot give you everything because it is not a person. You can find something, but some of the things you need a person guru to identify. So Arjuna is confused in asking that, please instruct me, what should I do now? So he is asking for a Krishna to become a spiritual master. A spiritual master is required for all of us because the problems in the life can come at any moment. So the spiritual master can be your father, can be your mother, A guru can be your friend also. Like before Krishna was accepted as guru by Arjuna, Arjuna and Krishna were cousin brothers, or they were friends actually. But now Arjuna wants to stop friendly discussions. And Arjuna is asking Krishna that you please become guru. So now is the serious discussion happening between Krishna and Arjuna. So until now, Krishna didn't say anything. You see, until this second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 7th shloka, Krishna didn't say anything. So whole first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is listening. So what does that say? So you listen somebody very patiently before you start talking. We want to talk more than listen less. There is a communication problem. लोगों को बोले हैं तो लोग सुनते नहीं है, बोलना ही चालू कर देते हैं. They want to start answering quickly. But please listen first carefully and then understand and then ask a question. So that is called as art of listening. There are some people listen here and come out here. There is a direct connection. There is a filter in between, but people don't use the filter. There are different types of listeners. Some listeners are very selective listeners. They will just listen what they want. And then they quote you out of the proportion then. Some people are attentive listeners. Means they will listen every word very carefully. And then third type of listeners are the active listeners, which means that they will learn every word, they will listen every word, learn it, and then apply in their life. So you have to decide what type of listeners you want to be. In Hindi, they call it Shrota. Shrota means listeners. But then there are Sota also. Sota means Shrota, ध्यान से सुनते हैं. Sota, सो जाते हैं. और तीसरे है Sarota. Sarota means they criticize. Sarota वो हिंदी में शब्द है, वो कैंची रहती है जिससे आप सुपारी को कट करते हैं. क्या करते हैं? सरोता बोलते हैं उसको. तो कुछ लोग देखते हैं कि ये आदमी कितना गलत बोल रहा है, फिर वो बोलेंगे ये इतना सारा गलत बोला. सही क्या बोला कुछ याद नहीं रखेंगे, ये गलत जो बारह और पकड़ेंगे, फिर बहुत सब जगह सोशल मीडिया में फैलाएंगे, ये देखो इतना गलत बोला उसने. अरे सही क्या बोला है वो नहीं. That is how the world is running, right? All the newspaper runs on negative things now, right? If they publish, if any newspaper publish positive, then their TRP will go down. है ना? आज इतने लोग मर गए, सब लोग पढ़ेंगे. आज इतना कोरोना पॉजिटिव हो गया, इतना सब लोग पढ़ेंगे. लेकिन somebody says, oh, this many people are doing well today. Nobody wants to read that. So that is called as Sarota. Sarota means criticizing. So there are three types. So we have to decide what type. So here Arjuna is asking and Lord Krishna is listening very carefully. And as soon as Arjuna surrenders to Lord Krishna, then Lord Krishna starts speaking in Bhagavad Gita. So 2nd chapter to 18th chapter, Lord Krishna is speaking and Arjuna is listening. And then 1st chapter, Arjuna is saying and Krishna is listening. You see, this is how it is. So 1 chapter you listen and then you get a chance to speak 17 chapters. So you need some patience, right? So whole conversation between Lord Krishna and Arjuna was for 45 minutes. 700 श्लोक कितने मिनट में? 45 minutes. For us it might take 45 months to learn. But that happened. But in that 45 minutes, first 10 minutes was Arjuna and then remaining 35 minutes was Lord Krishna. And then while Krishna was speaking, Arjuna was also listening. He was not just acting as if he is listening. Some people act as if like वैसा दिखाते हैं कि सुन रहे हैं, लेकिन ध्यान तो और किधर ही है ना? ऐसा होता है. जैसे लेक्चर्स में, हम मेडिकल स्कूल के लेक्चर्स में थे, तो आधे से ज़्यादा लोग तो पीछे सो जाते थे. तो लेक्चर्स में अटेंडेंस लगाना है तो लोग जाते हैं कॉलेज में, यूनिवर्सिटी में. आप भी ऐसा करते रहेंगे शायद. ऑनलाइन में भी जो जो लोग जुड़ते हैं वो मल्टीटास्किंग करते रहते हैं हमेशा. तो वो सिर्फ ऐसा दिखता है कि ऑनलाइन है, लेकिन ब्राउजिंग कुछ और ही चल रहा है. बैकग्राउंड में नेटफ्लिक्स चलते रहता है, ऐसा कुछ चलते रहता है. So Arjuna was not like that. Arjuna, that is why Arjuna won the war, because whatever Lord Krishna spoke in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna listened, understood and applied. That is why he was successful. That is why Arjuna won the war. Otherwise, he could not win the war. So then Lord Krishna is speaking to Arjuna. So we'll do this shloka and then we'll take a break. And then we continue with next Sunday. So Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Can you please repeat after me? Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Asochan Anvaha Sochastvam Prajna Vadanscha Bhashase Gata Asun Agata Asun Cha Nanu Sochita Pandita. So ये संस्कृत में था, आपके लिए इंग्लिश में यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है. श्री भगवान उवाचा अशोच्यम अन्वशोचस्त्वं प्रज्ञावादांश्च भाषसे गतसुम अदगतसुम च नानुशोचित पंडिता. सो भगवान यानी कौन? कृष्ण. ये भगवान जो शब्द है ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. यहाँ पे ऐसा नहीं कहा है कि कृष्ण उवाच, क्या लिखा है? श्री भगवान उवाच. देखिए, कभी कभी कहते हैं कि किसी के नाम के आगे एक टाइटल लगाया जाता है ना. जैसे कि भगवान कृष्ण ऐसे कहते हैं, है ना. क्या कहते हैं? भगवान कृष्ण. कृष्ण के आगे भगवान लगता ही है. भगवान रामचंद्र, भगवान लगता ही है टाइटल, है ना. जैसे किसी के आगे, नाम के आगे डॉक्टर लगता है, टाइटल रहता है. मिस्टर, मिसेस, डॉक्टर, इंजीनियर, ऐसे टाइटल रहते हैं. वैसे भगवान भी एक टाइटल है. जैसे गणेश जी क्या लगता है? गणपति देवता, दुर्गा माता, सरस्वती माता, लक्ष्मी माता, है ना. तो ऐसे अलग अलग टाइटल लगाए जाते हैं. तो ये जो है, कृष्ण के आगे कभी देव नहीं लगता है. कृष्ण देव कभी नहीं लगता है. क्या लगता है? भगवान कृष्ण. राम जी के आगे रामदेव नहीं लगता है. रामदेव सिर्फ बाबा को ही कहते हैं, है ना. भगवान राम जी के आगे भगवान ही लगेगा, देव कभी नहीं आएगा. तो क्या फर्क है? तो फर्क ये है कि भग यानी जो ऑपुलेंस, एक है भगवान, दूसरे है देवी देवता. भगवान विष्णु, उनमें से, उनकी नाभि के में से कमल निकलता है. उसमें से कौन निकलता है? ब्रह्मा जी निकलते हैं. और ब्रह्मा जी में से फिर सभी देवी देवताओं का निर्माण होता है. इसलिए जब हम भगवान कहते हैं तो भगवान ये सभी देवी देवताओं को भी, उनके जो सोर्स है वो भगवान है. जैसे विष्णु है, उनमें से ही सभी देवी देवता आते हैं. 33 करोड़ देवी देवता कहाँ से आते हैं? भगवान विष्णु से आते हैं. इसलिए विष्णु या विष्णु के अवतार, उनके आगे भगवान लगाया जाता है. और बाकी देवी देवताओं के आगे भगवान कभी नहीं लगाया. जैसे कि महादेव कहते हैं. तो ये ऐसे, जब भी देवी देवताओं को कोई संकट आता है तो वो कहाँ जाते हैं? भगवान विष्णु के पास जाते हैं कि हे भगवान विष्णु, आप हमें बचाइए. जब समुद्र मंथन करना था, जब असुर बहुत प्रबल हो गए, When the demons were very powerful, all the Devi Devtas went to Brahmaji, and then Brahmaji went to Lord Vishnu. And then Lord Vishnu said, okay, you do Samudra Manthan, I will come and help you. इसलिए यहाँ पे कहा गया है श्री भगवान उवाच, भगवान कृष्ण को भगवान कहा गया है। फिर कहते हैं असोच्यम अन्वसोचस्त्वम प्रज्ञावादांश भाषसे गतसुम अगतसुम च नानुशोचित पंडिता। पंडित मीन्स अपने संस्कृत में एक शब्द है पंडित, और यही शब्द इंग्लिश में भी यूज किया जाता है पंडित। जैसे गुरु शब्द है, ये संस्कृत शब्द है। However, in English language also they use guru word. Mantra is a Sanskrit word, but in English also they use the word mantra. What is the success mantra? Who is a guru? Who is a pandita? So what does pandita means? In India, some people have last name as Pandit also. But Pandit means one who is learned. Now here, Lord Krishna is telling to Arjuna that you are a Pandita. You are talking like a Pandita. This is actually criticism. Criticism of Arjuna by Lord Krishna. भगवान कृष्ण अर्जुन को कह रहे हैं कि बहुत पंडित की जैसी बात कर रहे हो आप पंडित नहीं हो लेकिन पंडित की जैसी बात कर रहे हो, ऐसे कह रहे हैं यहाँ पे। हाँ, ये कहते हैं असोच्यम अन्वसोचस्तम। असोच्यम मीन्स वन विच इज नॉट वर्दी ऑफ लैमेंटेशन। तो आप जिसके बारे में इतना दुख कर रहे हो, रो रहे हो, लैमेंट कर रहे हो, you are lamenting for which you should not be lamenting. Prajna vadamscha bhashase. You're talking as if you are very learned. Prajna vadamscha means you're talking as if you are a very learned person. Gatasum agatam sumsa. However, the people who are learned, they never lament for anything they gain. They don't become very happy when they gain something, or they do not become unhappy when they lose it. So people who are learned, their head is on the shoulder. What is the head on the shoulder means? They are equiposed, balanced life. They do not become too depressed when the bad things happen, and they do not become too excited when the good things happen. Just a balance. Why? Because whatever is good today is going to disappear tomorrow. It's not going to last ever. If you're eating a pizza, how long a pizza will last? As long as it is in your mouth. That's it. It's finished. It's finished. Right? So your taste will not last longer. So today you are rich. Tomorrow you might lose whatever you have. Today we are healthy. But tomorrow you never know, right? So we have one of the student, she was very healthy a few weeks back, and then she got an accident. And both her legs are like in thunder pain. And she's in the bed for more than 3 months. Just like that, you know. One evening they were going by car, and the car flipped over. And nothing happened to anyone except that poor that girl. Everybody else was safe. And she was not even driving. But she broke both her legs. So today we are good, tomorrow we don't know. So not to lament when you bad times come, and not to be overexcited when there is a good time. So that is called as Pandita, because Pandita knows that the good and bad times can come anytime. So not to be too proud, not to be too depressed when you don't have anything. Because if you don't, when you are down, only way is up. आप अगर नीचे है तो उसके नीचे नहीं जा सकते ना, जमीन से नीचे कहाँ जाएंगे अभी आप? अभी तो ऊपर ही जाना है, लेकिन जब ऊपर है तो समझ लो आप नीचे आने वाले एक दिन। ऊपर कोई नहीं रह सकता हमेशा। Have you seen anybody's graph like this these days? Anybody's graph like this? No, it is always like, that's why echocardiogram, no? अच्छा चेस्ट एक इकोकार्डियोग्राम हार्ट का वो ऐसा ऐसा रहता है, ऐसा आया तो समझना मर गया हो. He's dead. Flat means dead. Nobody's life is flat. There is a good time and the bad time, right? So Lord Krishna is telling to Arjuna that, hey Arjuna, that if you are really Pandita, then you should not be crying now. You're crying for the temporary body of your grandfather, Bhishma Pitama. You're crying for the Guru Dronacharya. You're saying that they will die. If they die, what will happen? Who will look after their family members? Who will look after the soldiers? Arjuna was saying that if all the soldiers are killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, then their wives and the children will become orphaned, and then their wives will be abused. And then who will look after their family? Why do you want me to kill my grandfather? He's saying to Krishna, hey Krishna, would you kill your grandfather? You are asking me to kill my grandfather, Bhishma Pitama. He's like that. The whole first chapter is an argument between Arjuna is putting to Krishna why he doesn't want to fight. So then Lord Krishna is smiling at him. And he's saying, you're talking very learned. बहुत पंडित के जैसे बात कर रहे हो. लेकिन आप जिस लिए बात कर रहे हो, it is not even worth thinking about it. Why? Because Duryodhana was on adharma side. Suppose somebody comes in your house and then your family is being attacked. A thief enters your house and he takes away everything from you. He takes away your valuables and now he start hurting your family members. What would you do? Would you be non-violent, ahimsa? Or would you be attacked? You will take whatever you need to because it is the time to protect your family, right? Is that right or wrong? Suppose there is a fight between two big countries, like say India and Pakistan war, for example. And then the commander-in-chief of Indian army says that I'm not going to fight this war because the soldiers on the other side will be killed and their family will be orphaned and फिर क्या हो जाएगा? The enemy country will invade your country and then take over the whole country. फिर क्या हो जाएगा? फिर आप कहेंगे हम non-violent अहिंसा कर रहे थे. So it's not that Krishna is promoting hinsa, but it is sometimes you have to be taking the decision. So here Lord Krishna is telling to Arjuna that if you do not punish this Duryodhana, then this Duryodhana is a miscreant. He will take over everybody and he will exploit the entire kingdom. So you have to punish this person. And that is why our Lord Krishna wants to punish Duryodhana through Arjuna. Right? So when there is a criminal, the criminals has to be punished. Right? If somebody has murdered someone, it has to be punished. Right? So here Arjuna is trying to be compassionate, but this compassion is a false compassion. False means wrong compassion. Arjuna is trying to save his family and friends, but the same people are criminals. अगर कोई बच्चा गलत कर रहा है, तो won't the parents punish the child? Or they'll say, let him do bad. What would the parents do? They have to punish the child, right? Otherwise the child will be spoiled child. So here Krishna is asking Arjuna that you are acting like a Pandita, but you are not Pandita. You don't know what's happening on the other side. So with that, we'll pause here for Bhagavad Gita and we'll do the Arti. Any questions you have? So what do you think? Arjuna's decision is right or wrong? Was Arjuna right in not fighting or was he wrong in not fighting? What do you think?
Probably it's an ambiguous situation.
What is that?
And other side, Arjuna is saying that it's my family, I shouldn't go with that.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, if we look after Krishna's statement,
Mm-hmm.
he is also saying the same truth.
So what do you think? Arjuna is right or wrong?
I would rather shift with Krishna.
Okay, good. So you're thinking Krishna, Arjuna is wrong. What do you think? Yash? What do you think? Both are correct? At a point. So Lord Krishna is saying that if somebody is attacking your house and you become non-violent, or you become violent, is that right or wrong? At that point it is right, right? So what is this point? Mahabharat war? Fight, right? If in the exam, there's an examination, you start crying in the exam, what will happen? You'll fail, right? Oh my God, I'm crying. So Arjuna was crying in the examination. This was the examination time. There is a time when a soldier standing on the battlefield of fight with the enemy, and then he's saying that they are my brothers and sisters. But if they are on wrong, they has to be punished, right? So if a man is drowning, would you save a man or you save his clothes? Of course, man, right? Similarly, there is a principle of dharma and adharma. When adharma is becoming powerful, what do? You become compassionate and save adharma, or you become powerful and save dharma? Dharma, of course, right? So here, Duryodhana was adharmi. He was illegally taking over the kingdom, and then he was exploiting the kingdom for his own sake. So in the history of Bharatvarsha also, Samrat Ashok was brought by Chanakya. Also, he punished the miscreants. So there was a fight. There is a fight always between dharma and adharma. And here, Lord Krishna is telling to Arjuna that you are acting like a pandita, but your argument is wrong. On the ordinary circumstances, yes, you should not be violent. Right? If a soldier, if he fights in the battle of a national, on the behalf of country, and he kills the enemy, he wins the medal. He wins the Veera Chakra, Mahavir Chakra, Paramvir Chakra, right? Why government gives him a medal? Even after killing the soldiers on the enemy side? Because he fought for the right cause. Right? But the same soldier, if he comes and kills a civilian, then he is put behind the bars. Right? Why? Because that was adharma. Dharma means to protect, and adharma means to exploit. You understand this? So with this, we'll pause here and we'll do the Arati ceremony. Anybody has any questions? Any more questions you have? No? Do you think Gita is useful or no? Yeah? Gita is, it storms your brain for some of the things in your life, you know. It gives you a thought for your life. But sometimes you will also be faced with the decision making. Here is the Arjuna's confusion. Should he fight or not? And throughout the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is going to give you the formulas how to take the decisions in your life. So Arjuna is crying. On one way there is a decision to fight, on another way is decision to give up the war. That is called Dharma Sankat. Have you heard the word Dharma Sankat before? Lack of decision making is called Dharma Sankat. There is two choices, and now we have to take a choice. So Lord Krishna throughout Bhagavad Gita gives various instructions for benefit of us to take decisions in our life. So then in third chapter of Lord, in second chapter is called as Sankhya Yoga, where he gives the analytical study. Then third chapter of Bhagavad Gita is called as Karma Yoga. Then Jnana Yoga. Then Nishkam Karma Yoga. Then Dhyana Yoga. Vibhuti Yoga. Jnana Vijnana Yoga. So different types of yoga. Bhakti Yoga. So Lord Krishna throughout the 18 chapters, he gives instructions about different methods by which you can solve the problems in your life. Right? So today we just was an introduction for the first chapter and second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and we'll learn this coming few weeks now, because this, as I said, the month of December is a Gita month, and there is a Gita marathon happening all over the world. Gita Jayanti is coming up. We are going to celebrate Gita Jayanti here in the temple on what day? December 12th. December 12th is a Sunday. We'll meet here at 10 o'clock in the temple and we'll recite all the 700 shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. So there will be lunch and dinner served in the temple. Now this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for all of us to read Bhagavad Gita in one sitting. आप कभी किया है क्या नहीं मालूम नहीं, कभी करेंगे क्या नहीं ये भी मालूम नहीं, लेकिन ये दिन पे आप अगर आएंगे यहाँ पे तो क्या हो जाएगा, आप एक साथ 7 श्लोक पढ़ेंगे भगवद गीता के. तो it will be a once in a lifetime opportunity. Why? Because we are here, there will be some people to guide you and take you throughout all 700 shlokas. So we'll read in Sanskrit language and English language, Sanskrit and English. So 10 to 1, then we'll have a lunch break, we'll serve the lunch here, then 2 to 6, then we'll finish the entire Bhagavad Gita. So it's a wonderful opportunity. But before that, we will read few shlokas of Bhagavad Gita every Sunday and we'll try to apply it in our daily life, right? So with that, we will now do Aarti ceremony. We request everybody to please stand up. Prabhuji, Sneha ne bola hai. So thank you to all who are joining us online. Ajit Prabhu, Richa ji, Chris, Mihir Prabhu, thank you so much. And now we'll do the Aarti ceremony. So all of you can come forward if you like, please. So the Aarti is on the screen, so it's a call and response, so you can repeat after. So after this Aarti, we'll do Narsimha prayer, and then after Narsimha prayer, we'll have Prashadam. So please join for Prashadam as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Hare Krishna.
Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine आरती करे न ब्रह्मा आदिदेव गाने नरहरि आदि कोरी नारद Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Radha Prajivatsal, Radha Prajivatsal Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, my Subhadra. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
तो हम सब लोग झुक के भगवान को प्रणाम करेंगे। नमामि विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद् भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की नमामि विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की श्री अयोध्या धाम की श्री मथुरा धाम की श्री वृंदावन धाम की श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की समस्त भक्त वृंद की ऑल ग्लोरीज फॉर somebody, all glories for somebody, all glories for somebody, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Nitai Gaura Premanandi. तो 1-2 मिनट बैठिए सब लोग. We'll do last Narsimha prayer and then we'll go for the prasadam. Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlad सिद्धो नरसिंहा परतो नरसिंहा यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंहा बुद्धि नरसिंहा हृदये नरसिंहा नरसिंहमधिं शरणं प्रपद्ये भवकरकमलवरे नताम् अद्भुतशृङ्गां ललिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनो मृङ्गा केशवदीपा नरहरिरूपा जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे पिताई गौर प्रेमानंद विघ्न विनाशक लक्ष्मी नरसिंह भगवान की भक्त शिरोमणि